All right, a quick demo on how to render depth of field in a compositor like Fusion. First thing we need to do is turn off this depth of field, and we want to render out two elements, a background and a foreground. So I'm going to start by hiding him and select render. I'm going to do an image sequence, PNGs, HD, final render, it's all good, all range, frame rate 30, export, choose. I've already done this, so let's pretend I'm rendering. I'll cancel that. And when that's finished rendering, we turn him back on and we select these and hide them. And it's very important that nothing's left here because we want a clean alpha of just him. So the settings are all the same. I just hit export and I put it on foreground pass, save to render him out. And when that's finished, save our project and close it. Okay, when you open up Fusion, this is what you see it first. We have two viewers in the flow area where you do most of your work, and then a tool display over here. That'll all make sense in a minute. So first thing we need to do is load our footage in, and terminology is important in this kind of system because you're basically asking yourself, what do I want to do? Well, I want to load. So LD up here is the loader, and you get a little display down here of what everything is if you haven't learned all the shortcut names. So LD is a loader. It opens up the last folder you used, in my case our background pass. You can see it here, open. Now if it hasn't shown up yet, the reason being is we haven't assigned it a viewer. See, I've got 3 available here, 1, 2, and then another output card. So the easiest way to choose a viewer is just take your node and drag it right in. Say, there you go. And if I hit the fit button, that'll fit that size. Okay, so let's deselect that and select the new loader. And this time we'll bring the foreground in. And there's our man, there we go. And I'll drag that into the viewer, and there it is. Now we don't need the other viewer right now, so let's change up in the left corner here. Single display. Okay, and you may notice on the timeline, there's 1,000 frames in at the moment, but we're only using 199, so let's change that 199 just for simplicity. So what we want to do, again, the dialog, I want to merge this over that, foreground over background. So we need a merge tool, and the easy place to get it is here. MRG is merge. Okay, so a quick note here, red box is output. Everything else with an arrow going inwards is an input. Nice and simple. Orange is the background input, and that's the foreground input. So if I attach the background to the background and the foreground to the foreground, and then drag this merge into the window, there you go, our comp. Now let's just move this over here. So really all I have to do now is add our blur, or in this case a defocus. So what we're looking for is defocus. And the entire list of tools is available by clicking anywhere in this flow area. Right click, add tool, blur, defocus. Okay, so that's hanging in midair. It's not got anything attached to it. Quite simply, we need to stick it in here. It doesn't automatically attach, but if I hold shift when I do that, you'll see the colors change from just a white line between the two to yellow and blue, which shows you the direction of the path. And so now the defocus is after background and before the merge. And if I ramp this up a little bit, you'll see, there you go, we have a defocus effect. I'm going to change the bokeh type to circle because it looks better. Set that around 6. And if we jump to the end, you'll see, okay, that's a little much for the end. So let's go back to the beginning. And we want to animate that. And quite simply, with defocus selected, the tools will be here. So you right click on the defocus size because that's the thing that's changing, and you say animate. And when you do that, you get a green flag and a green window to show you that this now has keyframes on it. So I can still make changes, you know, but maybe I want it around 6. There you go. And if we go to the end of the timeline, I want it's blue, but if I change this at all, it'll now add a keyframe. So I want it to be more like 3. Let's go back to the beginning, hit play, and admire our handiwork. And actually, if you want to look down here for a second, you see how all these are flashing? What they are is telling us who's doing work in this particular case. So everything's being cached individually into the memory system. So the first time you do something like this is actually the slowest time. If I don't change this at all, anything I add after it will update, but this one will already be cached. So everything gets a little quicker in that respect. But of course, when you're adding new things, they slow it down. So the speed doesn't change much, but that's also a good thing that it doesn't change much. And there you go. Now we're viewing it in real time. So the only thing left to do here, stop that, is we want to output it. Well, here, if we're loading footage, now what we want to do to our comp is save it. And next door to the loader is the saver. Now, if I was to click on this right now, it would add it to the defocus because that's selected. So let's select the merge. Then I'll click saver. It opens up a dialog straight to the last folder we were in. I'm going to use this, which I've already done. So down here it says all image files, and there are lots of formats that it supports, but we're just going to go with an MP4. So I'll start with a QuickTime and give it the name DOF test MP4. Hit save. Yes, I want to replace it. And it still hasn't started, and the reason being is because all you've done is told it where it's going and it actually said, yeah, do it. And that's here, the render button. And the reason they do that is that there are a lot of options that, you know, when you get more advanced, you want to be able to make sure things are set, like network rendering, etc. So we'll hit the render button, but what's highlighted is what we're interested in, frame range, and then it's final output render, which means now that any possible switches that weren't at full quality will get switched to full quality. So all I have to do is hit start render, and off it goes. So as you can see, it's going back to the same sort of speed as the first time we rendered it, and all the lights are flashing again, because effectively what's happening is it's now switched from its normal low definition, which is still pretty high definition, to the absolute uncompressed full quality 32-bit floating point calculation renders. And it's still pretty quick considering. The result, of course, that we get is everything's nice and clean, and you have the added bonus of having the entire compositing suite as well to enhance this image. Now, if you want to see what I mean, I'm just going to do something really quickly here. So that's the end of the tutorial, but this is the beginning of me messing around just to show off a little bit of the sort of things that you can do, because it's not just A over B with a blur. The things that you have available here go well beyond that. First of which would say be color correcting. So I could have the hues changing of the lights if I wanted to. So let's do that. So I drag it here, set a keyframe, and then I go back to the beginning, drag it here. I don't need to set a keyframe because it's already got the beginning, hit play, and now the lights are changing color as well as the blurs that we've added. Okay, well, not blown away yet, but how about we adding some blur? Let's have a soft glow. So again, hold shift, drag it onto here, and now I've just lit everything up with a soft glow, threshold control, glow size, gain. Okay, so already If I just turn those off, we've gone from that to that, which is quite exciting. But if I want to go even further, I'm going to add an effect called raise. Drop that in. Oh, and look what we have here. So I'll pull the threshold up a bit, and here we go. Okay. The reason it looks different when you're dragging it is because it's actually dropped it down to the quickest possible part of the engine. And when you let go, it's doing the full calculation. So you can get there. You just need to make adjustments, which I'm doing now. Something like, okay, say we're happy with that. And it's still not complete. Let's do something else. I'm going to go and get one of the most popular tools in here. It's called fast noise. And if I make the scale a bit smaller, you'll see. And I'll turn this alpha off so you can see what it looks like. Increase the detail. And it's just a still of that fast noise at the moment. But if I put the seethe rate up to 1, basically animates the noise. So I'll hit play. See that? And it looks kind of smoky, right? So what if we were to use this as an effect mask for our soft glow and our rays? Well, I've got one mask. I just attach it to the blue input. It's always an effect mask. So if I attach it to that, let's view this. You see what it's doing? It's making like a smoky effect. So I can drop the same thing in the soft glow, which means I'll probably need to boost that a bit more so we can actually see it. So now we got smoke around the edges and in the rays. Go back to our defocus. And I'm going to boost my rays a little bit. There you go. And all this is live, so I can basically change the scale of the smoke and the speed and the detail and all that sort of stuff while I'm changing the parameters. And now let's look at our final merge. So we have this smoky light effect in the background. And if we're going to completely push the boat out, let's get our rays and animate some movement. So let's start like that. And that particular control this is called the center position. So I'll animate that. And I'll go to the end. And I'll drop them down like that. And we're done. So this is it. I'm going to sign off now and let you just watch this render. So I'm going to overwrite that last file. So hit render and go. So there you go. Quick demo and then a little bit advanced demo on the sort of things you can do post-production wise in a compositor like Fusion. And I've tried them all. Honestly, for the money, i.e. free, this one is heads and shoulders above everything else. Okay, till the next one.